What is up, guys? Welcome back to Easily Profit. I am Jay. I've been needed to really put out more videos, especially to help you guys. A lot of guys like this free content, especially that I'm doing. So I'm just gonna keep it going, basically. But just really to get things out the way. I wasn't able to make any videos. I got sick. Nose all stopped up, so I didn't really want to make a video sounding all weird. But just going over previous trades. Made 2,200 on HMNY. It was 2,200. Then I lost $30 because I tried to get in it again and it stopped me out. But I had my stop used at my buy-in price, so just had to eat commission and a couple cents worth of shares. Shout out to Eric Anderson. Grew his account 35% this month. Started with $800. Now broke 4K thanks to Easily Profit. Now this is really like the antithesis of trading. I'm not really focused on how much money he made. He only made $1,050 in 1 month. They may sound, I make $1,050 at my normal day job. But just to think about it, he grew his account 35%. To grow your account 35%, most of the time you have to really pay some big fund manager. Millions and millions. I'm talking about waiting a long time just to even get it into like the single. Most of the time in the single digits, like 6-7%. Growing 35% in 1 month, it just shows you this niche works if you learn how to actually use it. Now, shout out to Tia. First trade ever, swing trade in Nugget in at 12.32, out at 13.47 for a small profit. Shout out to Easily Profit, Eric Russell. Also, shout out to Eric Russell, good dude, fellow person from Houston. Go follow him. He's a legit dude. And me just basically putting out funny pictures and stuff like that on Twitter. So if you want to go follow me and just have a good laugh, I'm always open. And Easily Profit, my Instagram, we just broke 10,000 followers. And basically, this is what I do if I'm not trading. This is basically my life, basically doing, managing a lot of car rental type of stuff like that, do logistics for a lot of companies. But that's basically what it is. And today, really what the video is really going to be about is my strategies that I actually use for the long side. A lot of people actually always ask me about, really, what is your strategy that you use to actually long a lot of these stocks? So basically what I'm going to go over is my full-on long strategy, but it's really broken down into two different ways that I actually trade. One is momentum and one basically is dip buying. But both of these have specific nuances that you have to really learn how to actually use. Now, this stock that basically I got into on October 11th, it was BSPM. I got in at 375. And good old trade, from $3.75 to $4 per share. I'm just judging the support and resistance. I see the stock starting to move up a little bit, put out those higher lows. Now, basically, I'm looking to sell at $4 per share. So the $4 per share line is right over here. So this is where I'm looking to get out. I got out at, I believe, 3.99. So it's a 3.75 to 3.99 play. All right, pretty good. Any play that's green is, if you're in the green, you're in the profit. So it's always good. But just to know that if you have these good chances, and especially if you find these stocks that are good enough, especially have this low float, have a lot of volume start to come in, you can get these very, very lucky plays that this stock went from 355 in the morning. I bought it at 375, and the rest of the day it goes all the way to 706. So the fact is if I was to hold that stock all the way at 3.75, it would have went all the way to $7.06, and I basically would have doubled my money. And usually I play with around 12 to 15,000 per trade. It really sometimes depends. Now if I'm in a trade that has, I guess, been gaining very, very far and is very, very high strong, I'm usually going to not average down my positions, but I'm usually going to use smaller positions just so I can actually manage my risk reward. But overall, I play with large amount of shares, so this would have been a huge win. But the fact is, why didn't I actually hold that long? So that's the whole thing. Is there's two different ways I actually like to trade. I actually like to play these support and resistance, like to play the breakouts, and then other ones I actually like to dip buy these good old winners. So now I'm actually going to go into the strategy of basically how I did everything. So as you can see, Darius, he bought in way before me. I called it at 375. So I'm in at 375, locking profits on staff. That was the other stock that we were trading. In it 375, out at 4.0. Other guy in 372, out at 4.04. Thanks for the good call. Everybody else talking about other stocks. Then BSPM start to take over again. It's starting to rip. And at the same time, you can really see other people starting to get in. Successful morning all the way around. What did he say? BSPM on the alert, 377, out at 440, best day of the month, $800 richer, not much, but worth the effort, basically. Yeah, it's pretty good. Did about 425 out at 455. What else? In BSPM 443 out of 454. Did it on paper. Still good. I mean, if learning on paper will still help you out. Now, there's differences between paper and live trading, especially emotional wise. I mean, you're actually risking real money, but it's still the same thing really applies in a very, very fundamental sense. And I basically scalped it again, 4.6 to 4.7. I believe I scalped it again at 5 to 510. So I was just playing, scalp the 5 to 510 move. And that's the whole thing. Out at 510 on BSPM, thanks, hold $1 per share. So he got in at 410 and out at 510. So it just shows you like and most of these guys that are actually in my chat room, usually these guys I actually get to go over one-on-one. So most of these guys I actually taught before. In overall it shows you that with that good strategy and fundamentals in play, when you get these luck plays, especially, not every single play every single day is going to look like this, but if you get these luck plays, you can really bank real hard, especially on these smaller accounts. This is how you grow those smaller accounts like that, 362 up to 457. Now, if we was playing GBR, we were playing a couple other stocks that were jumping back and forth, 547 out of 590. Everybody's just... The whole day, everybody was just winning on the stock. And now I can actually just go over. Let me just show you now how I traded and just showing you the live examples, what it actually looked like when I was actually trading it. Now, here's the trade on BSPM. Basically, you see the stock setting higher lows right out the gate. I got in at 375. I'm basically just want to ride the momentum up to the next resistance. So that's basically these momentum plays that I usually like to actually execute. It's basically what they look like. Then usually you're going to have some form of spike, very fast move. And I got out at 4. So I really didn't even hold out to 414 or try to skim the top. I got out real conservatively, 3.75 to $4 a share play. Now, how the stock is trading, even though it's bouncing off the 4 area, it really hasn't solidified itself yet because it hasn't broken the 414 high of the day. You're still risking off of 3.6. Now that it's going to break the 414 high of the day, now I can actually confidently say that $4 is really the support level, because the stock really hasn't got down there yet and really broke down that level yet. Now re-entry to the stock, I'm still trying to get the stock to really get down back to the $4 per share level so I can actually risk off of a good amount of support. But the stock really is just starting to run and just keeping on running like that. So usually sometimes you're not going to get that opportunity to really re-enter at a good price. I mean, sometimes these stocks can just keep on running and keep on running. So even though I bought at 375 and sold at 4, almost could have basically held that, because it held the $4 level pretty well and broke out again. And that's really something I usually like to take my profits early, but it just shows you this stock just keeps on ripping and keeps on ripping like that. And you really want to play that same old strategy over again. Look for those higher lows to be set like that. Look at that support level and try to get in as close to the support level as possible to find some form of re-entry. You can see on the daily chart, the stock has already broken through the 460 daily resistance. Now it's going to test the 550 daily resistance, which would happen sometime in June. So if it can really test that and break through that, then you're really looking at $6 per share, $6.50 per share, $7, and you can really see the parabolic move start to actually happen. So, I mean, these are a lot of buyers and sellers coming in, a lot of volume happening and stuff like that. So these plays get real volatile like that. So even though this stock is at 580, I'm looking for like the stock to get kind of almost down to the 550s for re-entry, and it just doesn't. It just keeps on wanting to rip and rip even more. So sometimes you're not able to really get in at a good price. Sometimes you're really going to just have to buy in, but you always want to keep it calculated. You don't want to just buy in out of nowhere, just because as that spike you saw right after that was a large pullback. So you never want to just buy in out of nowhere. You always want to have some form of calculated plan. And I'm going to show you this on HMNY as well. So like right when HMNY started trading, kind of formed almost a slight flag, but I mean, right out of the gate, it basically went from 6 in the sixes all the way to the 10s. I mean, got halted at 927 and opened up, went all the way to the 1070s, I believe. So, and that whole run, I don't want to just be like, well, you just got to get in it and hope for the best. I actually want to have some form of calculated plan. So as you can really see with the stock, I'm waiting for the stock to really form some form of support level that I can really judge off of. So you see, it dipped down as far as at the 880. So the lowest red candle off of that spike is 880. So as you can see, it's kind of bouncing off the nines, kind of going to the high eights a little bit. It's bouncing off that. So I'm just waiting for it to really form some form of support, then start to set some higher lows of candles and stuff, and really trying to weed out of that volatility. You can see on the actual daily chart, you have a lot of resistance at the $10 per share level. So that's going to really be one key area that you want to break. I got it at 1,000 shares at 9.25. I think the lowest I ever got was around 320. $320 call in the negative, and you slowly see those higher lows being set. As you can see, there's a slight trend going on, but it's still consolidation. What I'm really looking for is consecutive green candles, basically starting to set up for a high of the day break. Once you actually get to test the high of the day, that's when I either want to look to sell at the high of the day or see if it can actually hold and break through the high of the day. As you can see now it's setting up to break the high of the day. You can get a lot of resistance usually at that point. So at that 1073, 1070s area, you're going to start to have a lot of back and forth action going on. But then if you get a lot of volume, enough people, you can actually break out of those trends and you actually can keep on going. As you can see, I got my limit order stopped and I made 2,200. I tried to re-enter again. I lost $30, but the overall thing is there's two different ways you really want to trade these, either momentum or you really want to dip buy these at the support level.